I got a good one for you guys. Loki.
Yeah,
We're
dude.
gonna get into that.
We are getting into
I've got questions.
We'll start it off, Rick, when I can pull it up.
What'd you all think of the episode?
Well, you were supposed to start it off.
Well,
I
thought
kicked it over to you.
I thought it was good. I'm really curious about this He Who Remains guy. Like, it just was not what I was expecting at all, which I guess is kind of a good thing. That's what they go for.
That was Kang.
That's Kang. Okay. Yeah, because that was a little confusing and just I don't know, like the whole area they were at and like it was just kind of strange. But it was a good episode. Like I enjoyed watching it.
I'm actually really curious to hear what John has to say because I remember the last time, I don't know if it was the last time, but one of the times John said that his prevailing theory at the time was just like that none of this shit's real, essentially. Like TVA's fake, like all the stuff's fake, essentially. I'm obviously this is hyperbole, but so I'm curious to see that now there's like 100% confirmation that it is real. It's all definitely real.
Yeah.
It honestly ended up playing out similarly to what I assumed it would. Like I said, Kang would be at the end. I said it was going to be Kang or Loki at the end of this. Like there was going to be
like another Loki.
Another Loki was behind it, or it was Kang. And then after episode 5, there's a little bit too much Kang stuff thrown in there for me to not lean more towards Kang at that point.
Right. Well, it was literally on the building.
It was everywhere.
It was literally on.
Yeah, then you had the Void Castle, you had Eliath, you had the Sphinx, you had all this is so many things.
Well, and then like the statues at the end when he's at the TVA, they turn into the Kang guy.
To be fair, technically it wasn't Kang. It was He Who Remains, who is not actually Kang. Kang is a different version of the same character, but it is.
No, he was Kang. He was just he even said
Kang is like that's like saying so Steve Rogers is Captain America, but Steve Rogers isn't. I'm trying to find a way to put this. So like
it's no different than Sylvia's Loki. It's the same concept. There's another version of Kang from the multiverse, and this is what it is. He even said that he has like the thing, like all these different versions of me. He says, "I've been called Conqueror." Like
he does say Conqueror, but it's not that particular version of that character was never Kang. His name was something else. He is He Who Remains. Kang is a completely different. Kang is an evil. Kang looks to be the one running the TVA wherever Loki was sent.
Well, just a different version of him.
To me, it's a very fine splitting of a hair, but it's an important one because Kang is the evil version of that person. He's whatever.
Well, he said there's a ton of different versions of him. Some are bad.
Yes.
Like so, it's not just one.
And one of those versions is Kang.
See, there's going to be more than obviously one version of Kang, though. Like at this point.
Well, like I thought it was an incredibly clever way because He Who Remains is actually a Marvel character. The
old guy.
In no way, it's not a character that's related to Kang, but it is a Marvel character, and they found a really interesting way to that acting by Hiddleston right there when he's sitting there thinking about what
really
just taking place was heartbreaking and amazing.
Yeah.
See, like that looks to be Kang right there. Whoever's running this particular version of the TVA.
But they're all Kang though. Like that guy at the end is Kang. Jonathan Majors is Kang. They're all different versions of Kang.
See, but that's
the same guy.
Not true.
He never called himself He Who Remains.
You are correct, but that not necessarily.
No, because that's just semantics. Like they're all this different variants of the same person.
No, the semantic it's important semantics because his actual name, his alter ego is Nathaniel Richards. So they are every version of him is Nathaniel Richards. Not every version of him is Kang because not every version of him becomes an evil time traveling villain that wants to erase, that wants to take over the time stream. That particular version of him that we have been watching in that episode was he ended up becoming He Who Remains, not Kang. So it's a subtle, but it is an important distinction. I know everybody like was like, "Oh, Kang, it's Kang, it's Kang," and I get it, I get it, I completely understand. I'm not going to fight you on it. Like I get it. Yes, it's Kang because it was Jonathan Majors, and
They're all
Jonathan Majors
Kang.
was announced to be Kang, but technically, it's really not. It's Jonathan Majors. It's Nathaniel Richards that's taken a different path than the path that led to the character of Kang.
Well, the thing is, though, too, you gotta remember, it's the MCU. It's not the comics. Like they don't do things the same way. So like they've pretty much laid it out to where, like I said, with Sylvie and Loki, like Sylvie is inherently not Loki. It's an entirely different person. She has
Mhm.
no character traits similar to Loki, but she occupied the space of Loki in that universe. So she's Loki. You know what I mean? It's a different person, but it's Loki. Like
Yeah.
this is Kang. There's a different Kang out there who's gonna come
Well,
over and be more of a dick, but it's Kang.
but was her name Loki? Like, if her name was actually, if her parents gave her the name Loki, she's technically a Loki, even if she's decided to call herself Sylvie.
No, exactly.
Like,
That's how they
if you want to
said
say
in the
it's, if you
show.
want to say this cat's Nathaniel Richards, like, all right, yeah, I completely agree. He's
Well,
Nathaniel
he
Richards.
never
I'm
said
saying,
what his name really was, though.
He did.
He
He
alluded
like,
said
to
if
it
it,
being Kang, though.
let's go if Anakin never becomes Darth Vader, if there's a universe where Anakin never turns to the dark side, is that version of Anakin still Darth Vader?
I don't know.
Yeah. That's a good
Because
point.
that's essentially what you're saying. Like this
It
kid,
depends how time works there, because in the MCU they've established that that is how it works.
but they haven't, because the multiverse is just exploded, and so we don't know how the multiverse actually works right now. We know how time was explained by the Ancient One to Bruce Banner, and we know that
No, I'm saying
the
just everything we
Avengers.
learned from the Loki show, like with the TVA. That's how they explained everything worked. Like with Sylvie, like she was Loki. You know what I mean? Like that is what it is. Obviously, she did not follow the same footsteps as Tom Hiddleston's Loki. There was boastful Loki was a black guy. He was still Loki.
But she,
Did
yes,
very
but they
different
were
things.
they were that's their given name from where they're that's not a persona that they took on later. That is their given name. They are all when Odin takes it from Larfrey, is that how you say
Laufey.
his name? Laufey. When Odin takes the baby,
What a
regardless if
dumb.
it's
His
male or
name is
female.
Laufey Laufeyson. Or wait, what was
Laufey,
because
Laufey.
like his dad was named Laufey as well. So like they just kept naming the kid Laufey because that's how you get
Yeah.
the son moniker for your last
Yeah.
name. So
Well, it's
his
like-
dad was Laufey Laufeyson, and he's Loki Laufeyson.
Like my name, Eric with a K, is Nordic. And in Nordic history, like if there was an Eric that had a son, I'd have a son named Ericsson.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I just thought that was funny. I just realized that his name was Laufey Laufeyson. So his dad was just real lazy. He was like, I'll just give him my name, and then it'll be Laufey Laufeyson, like whatever. But go on. What were you saying? Sorry.
Well, I was just saying, like, in every version of events that where there was a Loki that was produced, Laufey had a child, be it male or female. It doesn't, it can be either. And Odin came and took the child, and the child's name was Loki. Loki was not a persona that the person adopted later. Loki is just who they are. They are Loki. Kang is a persona that one version of Nathaniel Richards ends up adopting to become this time traveling. This particular version of Nathaniel Richards became He Who Remains. That's where I'm making the distinction. I know what you're saying, and like I said, I'm not, because to make it simple, they're all Kang. You're correct. It's all the same person. It's
Well,
all
that's
the
the thing.
same.
In the comics, though, they have like the army of Kang.
Yes, there are
Like,
multiple Kangs.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like kind of the same thing in the comics too. Like, and they all look like the comic Kang that's in the statue. Like, in like the big Coliseum. I forget what they call it, but like there's like literally like there's a million of them, and they're all
Are there
Kang.
people in chat? I want to know what the chat thinks. Is
No,
there anybody in
not
chat
right now.
talking?
yeah.
Oh,
That-
come on,
that,
chat. We need you.
That fucking I wonder if the copyright thing fucked up the algorithm because it said like your video may be pulled down.
Damn
So
it.
I'm sure it's it may have hurt it a little bit.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Well, around the time that happened, there were 8 people. Now there's 3. Now there's 2.
Tell us what you think in the chat.
Either way, I know what you're saying. I just don't think that's exactly how. That's not what he said. Like, I'm saying how the MCU is presenting how this whole thing works and explicitly what this version of Nathaniel Richards, Kang, He Who Remains, whatever you want to say it, he explicitly said there are other versions of me.
Some are good.
Like, of me.
Yeah.
Like, some are good, some are bad. We've hung out. We gave, we complimented each other's noses. Some are assholes, though. Like, it is what it is. It's just him. Like, then he even says, like, the He Who Remains thing, he didn't give himself that name. That's what Miss Minutes calls him. Because he even says, like, she's still calling me that? Like, oh, okay. Like, because it's obviously not something that he's ever called himself. And then the fact that he goes on to say, I've been called Conqueror, implies that he was also called Kang, theoretically speaking. And then to go along with your argument, you described Kang as someone who wanted to conquer the time stream. That's explicitly what he did. Is it not?
No,
he was controlling the time stream.
I mean, it's
he's in control of it. He was Kang.
No.
Yeah,
he controlled it, but he didn't do it to control it. He did it altruistically because he believed it was the only way to save the time stream. That the multiverse war that was raging would have destroyed everything had he not done this. So he did it out of. There's a difference between doing. That's like
evil intent versus good
intent. It's like self-defense versus murder. Like, if somebody is attacking you and you kill them, that's not murder. If you go out and you take somebody's life because you're upset or mad at them, that's murder. Like they're the same act, but not the same thing. And so, him saying he conquered the time stream is one way to put it. I would say,
is that like
save
more of
the
his
time
opinion?
stream could be looked at as, yeah.
I don't know.
It's
hey, he's Kang.
Yeah.
No matter how you, it doesn't matter.
Like I said, you
spade's
call
a
him whatever
spade,
you
man.
need, whatever you need to call him. I'm choosing to believe that this isn't Kang because, like I said with the Anakin analogy, that's the best analogy I can come up with. If there's another universe where Anakin doesn't turn to the dark side, if Palpatine comes to him and he's like, "Look, I can save Padme," he's like, "Get away from me, you creepy old man!"
Kills like Palpatine or something.
Yeah, and like,
well, no, but that's the thing.
Like,
Anakin would remain Anakin, but someone else would become Vader.
I don't know.
So Vader would still occupy that space. Someone just like the Lokis do.
Nobody has to become Vader.
Yeah, Sidious's next thing would have just been called Vader.
No, but what I'm saying is because it's the multiverse, because there's an infinite number of possibilities. There's a universe where Anakin goes back to the Jedi Council after Palpatine approaches him and says, "Hey, look, something's effed up with our chancellor or whatever. He was trying to do me dirty on some stuff." Right. And like the Jedi Council's like, you're right. We've been looking for this blip in the Force, and this is it, and this is him, and they go and they take him down, they take him out of power, and there's truly a happily ever after that where Palpatine's, and that's just one version, but in that version, Vader never exists. So I'm just saying, like, it's semantics, but it's important semantics because you're talking about motivations, and
I just don't think it's important in the case of the MCU. Because they've established it like it doesn't really matter in that sense. Like, what I mean? Like, Kang is Kang. Like, Loki was Loki. Like, like, the name didn't matter. The name didn't matter so much they didn't even call him Kang in the show. Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, I feel like there's going to be a Kang. Because we know this. Let me throw this at you. I've said, like, before that I'm pretty sure this multiverse stuff's going to be wrapped up in Multiverse of Madness, right? They're not just going to keep going on and on and on and on with it. Like, I think like Multiverse of Madness is going to just bring an end to it. But if that's the case, which is all just speculation, but if that's the case, we know Jonathan Majors as Kang is in Ant-Man 3, which comes out
Yes.
after Doctor Strange. So
Yes.
Kang is going to exist in some capacity after the Multiverse of Madness, which presumably when the multiverse gets under control, theoretically speaking. So Kang will persist on, just like Loki persisted on when, he died, and and then he's back, and then, he was a bad guy in Avengers, but he was still there. You know what I mean? So like Kang's here, he's gonna be somewhere else, and he's gonna be in Ant-Man again. Like, there's gonna be a different Kang, but he's gonna be Kang. Like, I don't think he's obviously not gonna be this version, because there's gonna be a completely different version in another movie.
How's Kang
And there's gonna be
spelled?
another one. K-A-N-G.
K-A-N-G.
Okay.
You know what I
I
mean?
thought it was something different for some reason.
Like, I get what you're saying. I just
It was
don't think
spelled
that
different on the building.
Yeah, Kang Enterprises was
The corporation, yeah.
K-E-N-G. Yeah.
I thought it was like Q-U-N-G.
Yeah, it was Q-U-N-G.
Yeah.
But Kang is spelled
Yeah.
K-A-N-G. That was Kang Enterprises, which was like a front for Nathaniel Richards' company, but he was Kang. You know what I mean?
That whole thing at the end though with him and like Sylvie and all that, it was just so strange. But
Do you think, too, there's been people out there who think that the whole Sylvie and Loki thing is gross? Where do you guys stand on this?
I don't think it is at all. I thought it was kind of weird at first, but I was like, good for him.
No, I'm all for it. Yeah, go
Like
with
if
it.
I met a female version of me that I found attractive in some multiversal thing like this, and we got along, is that weird? Like,
Well, that's the thing, dude. Like, I was just saying, like, they are literally not the same person. She
that's what I
occupied the
mean.
same
She's a
space as
physically
Loki
different.
in a different,
But they're not the same person. Like,
They're literally a completely different person. They have different powers. One's a girl. She just occupied the space of Loki.
There is literally no social I don't even know what the right word construct in our existence to evaluate this on any kind of nobody has the ability to fall in love with a version of themselves. That's just not something that's possible. So I don't think that
happens every time I look
I
in the
think
mirror.
I think yeah, there you go.
I'm just kidding.
I want to say there's a lot of
think that-
narcissists out there who prove you wrong.
that's true. But I think a lot of people equate the if it's disgusting to have a relationship with your siblings or your whatever, your cousins or whatever, which it clearly is. I think because the genetics are so close at that point, because the idea is so close, that idea is kind of translating into, well, they're so close being essentially the same person, that's what makes it disgusting. But like you said, it's a completely different person, it's a completely different universe. Like, I don't know. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I don't know why people.
I
think it's,
don't
like,
see
icky and
anything
weird.
wrong with
it.
Like it's
And fundamentally, there's the idea of genetics being closely aligned and having a relationship with someone that's genetically close to you.
Related to you.
There's a serious like health issues that are arisen. There's a reason behind that whole thing. Who knows how genetics works when you're crossing over multiverses? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
they could not even genetics could not even be a thing. Like, they could be a completely
Right.
different genetic code or something. At that point, it's weird. Yeah. So
I am totally with you. I'm totally with you.
I get why they're weirded out. It just doesn't get to me. So
Yeah, I understand. Like I get it. Like I understand what they're saying, but it doesn't make any sense. Like because even I don't even. I'm trying to think of a way to make it like be weird, and it's like it's just not weird,
Dude,
you know
well,
what I mean?
it's like you said. It'd
be the
it's like
perfect
you said.
couple.
Yeah, it really would.
I mean, you got to think, like, I mean, they're not exactly the same, but you're similar enough to where it's like, you want to do the same things. I feel like, I don't.
I felt like
I would date
if
there's an attractive.
I feel like we'd probably get along if I met another version of myself in general. Like
If I met an attractive female version of myself, hell yeah, I'd be like, "What's up? Let's hang out. You're me.
Yep.
I'm you." Okay,
sure.
Is this weird? Maybe a little bit, but
So then we got the
But again,
confirmation
like
of season 2, by the way.
yeah.
We talked about that before.
that kind of blows my mind.
Why is that?
Just because it's Marvel is going to have to find a way to make season 2
He's
because
gonna be
season 2 is
battling
not gonna
Kang.
they're not gonna wait to pick up these threads until season 2. Like season 2 is not gonna pick up at the end. It's not gonna say like we're not gonna get into season 2. It's gonna say previously on Loki and like have Mobius turn around and go, "Who are you?" to Loki. It's gonna be completely further down the line. At least I would imagine so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would imagine that the Marvel universe, all that's happened will, like you said, it will be talked about in Spider-Man and maybe even Shang-Chi and Eternals. Who knows? I don't know where those were supposed to fall on the original timeline. I know things got shifted around because of the pandemic, and maybe those actually technically take place before this, or maybe it doesn't matter when they take place. But definitely by the time we get to Multiverse of Madness, clearly the multiversal theme will be touched upon, which means we won't pick up in season 2 directly where season 1 left off. So
Well, that's the thing,
it's an
too.
interesting.
We don't even know where this takes place on the MCU proper timeline, technically.
Well, technically, it doesn't take place because the Void is
It's on a
outside of
different
time.
timeline, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're outside of time, so we don't know when
They're-
and where
they're-
this is. It's implied
Yeah.
that it probably connects to what's going on in Spider-Man and, Doctor Strange, especially if he's going to pop up in Doctor Strange. Because, like, yeah, then it obviously would make sense that, like, okay. And then Kevin Feige saying that, this is the thing, too. I said for a while ago, everyone kept saying that it was just WandaVision, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange. And I went out and found the article where Kevin Feige said WandaVision, Loki, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange. They all connect. So that's why I'm saying, like, presumably this is all going to be like the multiversal chaos shit is going to be wrapped up, presumably, in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
The only thing that's weird is, like, we know Kang is going to be in Ant-Man 3, and it's also called Quantumania, which is also, like, very reminiscent of Multiverse of Madness. So it's like,
Right.
who knows what's going to happen? But nevertheless,
The
to go back,
I
we don't
think
know where
I
this is.
I think Kang is being set up to be the Thanos of whatever phase this is in. We had the Infinity Saga with the first 22 films. I feel like this will be this next saga will be a few different films, and I think Kang will be the Thanos level villain. I think he'll show up in different things, but I don't think he'll be like Quantum Mania. I don't know. I think Quantum Mania he'll be in, but I think that may have been a red herring to throw off people from when he got cast. Like they signed him right to a contract, and they knew that his contract would get out there that he's been signed to Marvel. So what do? You say he's going to be in Quantum Mania as Kang way down the line. You go, oh, okay, well that's fine, and people don't start looking for him immediately in Loki, and don't start looking for him in you know other properties. So
Yeah, they could, because they didn't even make the announcement till they had already shot Loki, and then they made the announcement like way after that he was going to be in Kang. So, or he was
yeah,
going to be in Quantumania. So I mean, it is possible that they just threw it out there just to like make people not think about it.
protect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Which is because a lot of people thought like there's no way it's going to be King of the End because he didn't sign on until after, blah blah. Well, I've said it
Exactly.
before. Like when it becomes announced, that means the contract was signed like who knows how long ago.
Right.
Like Ben Affleck was Batman like 6 months before it was announced. Like they've talked about in interviews, like they knew like this around X time, and then like I've said before, when they went to Comic-Con, he said that he was going to be a floor on, he'd be an ape on the floor for Matt Reeves. Like he wasn't going to be, he already knew. Like Robert Pattinson was already Batman at that point.
Yeah.
Like he was already signed on to do it and everything, but he just couldn't say anything because Justice League was about to come out. Like. So it's just like there's a difference between someone making a public announcement and then like the paperwork was done months ago, guys. Like, chill.
Right.
But yeah, they definitely. I liked how it ended though, personally.
Yeah, I thought, dude, that was really threw me off and took me out of it when they were like, when Mobius is just like, "Who are you? Like, what? Where are you from?" But
It is at this point curious, though. Like we were saying, like the timeline stuff is really interesting because, like, we just don't know.
yeah,
Like, because like we talked about it before that the writer for Loki, like, kind of let loose that he was writing season 2 like way before the show even aired. Like I think WandaVision was still on, and the Loki writer did an interview, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm working on season 2," and like we have literally a video about talking about that. So like obviously he wasn't lying. Like he just kind
yeah,
of let loose at like season 2. So I kind of already knew season 2 was a thing. Like so like this wasn't really a surprise. It just makes it a surprise based on how it ends. Because like now it presumably does connect to all these different things.
yeah. I mean, Marvel's
Like,
just a huge web in general. I feel like. Ooh,
yeah.
we about to get some thunderstorms.
Is it about to rain again?
It's about to. Check this out. I
Are
just
we
had to
gonna
pull it
we
up.
gonna have a weather stream again?
Well, I thought we. Oh damn, it's not pulling up. You can kind of see my radar there. I heard thunder.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna storm.
You got anything else you want to add, or you want to talk about some hot toys?
Let's talk about hot toys.
I don't have a whole lot else. I was trying to think if there's anything else. I thought Jonathan Majors was phenomenal
Yeah,
because
that
I
was
think
great.
he's good. I think he's I'm really looking forward to his portrayal of Kang. He must have like some pretty incredible range because I've never seen him in anything else. But he's got
Neither
a
have I.
Kang's a much different version of that person that he played. So it will be interesting to see how he plays him differently and how you know, he was playing a pretty out of it dude in this one.
Yeah.
Well, he was in Lovecraft Country on HBO.
Did you watch that?
No,
I've
but
heard it's good, but
I
I
heard it
also
was
heard it was
good.
canceled too. So
Well, it was only canceled because that first season was based on a book, and the book ended. So
yeah,
like they did the book, and they were gonna
yeah,
do a season 2, but they couldn't. HBO and who they had they just couldn't come up with a good story for it, so they
a good
decided to
way to
scrap it.
continue it.
Yeah,
So he decided to keep it like Watchmen and just do the one and done.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so it was
Yeah.
mainly just to protect what they already
Which
had, protect the
to be
IP.
fair, yeah, I appreciate people making those decisions if they, if that's like Watchmen was so good on HBO, and I'm glad that they didn't try and like just make a second one just for the hell of it, just because they had done so well with the first one. Like, if
Yeah.
they have a story they believe in, then yeah, go for it. So I don't know. I thought he was great in it. Obviously, Tom Hiddleston. I ended up really liking the actress that played Sylvie. I know that a
I
lot
did
of
too.
people at times didn't like her. I will say Marvel played that series off. It was awfully slow burn. Like the first 2 episodes, I was like, "Oh boy!" Like I'd been looking forward to it quite a bit, and after the first 2 episodes, I was like, "Well, WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier were great. I mean, this is good. Tom Hiddleston's great in everything, and this series is good. But man, they kicked it into high gear with like those last 3, I think. Just
Well,
really good.
they've made Loki such a likable character, I feel like, in this show. And by the end of it, like, you empathize with him and you like feel where he's coming from. And like that whole part where he's talking to Sylvie before she's like trying to kill He Who Remains, and he's just like, like, listen, I'm not lying to you and whatnot. Like, it was like a totally different Loki than you're used to seeing. I
Definitely.
thought that was cool though. Like, I I empathized with it. Like I said, like I get where he's coming from.
That's what
Yeah.
they kinda compressed. We ended up getting the same Loki that died in Infinity War in a very condensed story arc, but he got to the same place.
Right.
Like, because in the end of
I
Infinity
almost
War, he was willing to sacrifice himself
sacrifice.
to attempt to kill Thanos to save Thor. Like, he knew it wasn't gonna work for but he tried. Like, and that same character development all happened to this Loki now, just in a very condensed amount of time.
He
Yeah.
was willing to sacrifice himself to Sylvie if that's what it needed to
Yeah.
come to.
Mhm.
He put himself right in front of the blade when she was going to go stab him the first time. So
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
literally, pretty much the
but
same situation.
a really good job by them to get him to that same place. Like, I mean, they obviously, I think they probably technically had more screen time when you think about it, because you got parts of Loki in a lot of different movies versus a lot of Loki in a few episodes. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, now that it's over, Loki was my like, after the trailers, Loki became my most anticipated Marvel Disney Plus
I
show.
remember you saying that you were.
Now we have all 3. So what's your all's rankings of the 3 so far? We can wrap up the Loki review.
Loki, WandaVision, then Falcon and Winter Soldier for me.
All right. John, where's yours?
Dude, I wasn't ready for this.
Putting you on the
It's
spot.
like, which kid do you like more?
That's kind of what it
Oh
is.
boy, I don't know. I had nothing to do with the making of these, but yeah, I love them just as much as but all right, I'll just man,
Just right now, you gotta
I'll go.
answer. What is
I'll
it?
go. I'll go Falcon, Winter Soldier, Loki.
Falcon Winter Soldier Loki.
Where's
Yeah,
WandaVision? She
or not. I'm
last?
sorry, Falcon,
Fa-
WandaVision.
that I knew that's what
Captain
you meant
America, Winter
somehow.
Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Falcon. It was the W that hung me up. I went Winter Soldier instead
Right.
of Wanda. It was Falcon, Wanda, Loki.
I think we all have different ones, man, because I think honestly, I might put WandaVision on top and Loki second, and then Falcon third. Is the way I might
Falcon just
go.
didn't do it for me.
Like, but I think Loki had the weakest episodes of all 3 seasons of the show. Like season 3 or episode 3 of Loki, you could delete it and it wouldn't even matter.
Right.
Like
It really wouldn't.
it just was. You just didn't need it at all. Didn't do anything. So like, I liked the scope of Loki though, and I liked all the stuff that I liked Loki on paper and conceptually. I think it was the best. But like, I think WandaVision was the most complete, solid show. Like
Yeah.
of all of them.
WandaVision was just so unique in the way they
Mhm.
presented it and the way they did it. Like they tried something, and to varying success for different people. For me, it worked exceptionally well. I know for a lot
Definitely.
of people, those first 2 episodes fell flat, but I appreciated the artistic vision behind it, which is why it is number 2 in mine. And I'm putting Falcon and Winter Soldier at number 1 because I mean, God, those scenes with Bucky and the old man and like just the development, and then just the social commentary about Falcon becoming Cap and his rationale for not doing it and stuff. I just found that stuff just engrossing, and like as much as I loved the character development with Loki, as you said, we kind of had that before. So it wasn't a repeat because they did it in a different way. It was still just as good and an excellent show, but like it's me picking not 1, 2, and 3. It's me picking 1A, 1B, and 1C. If that's
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I really liked Malcolm Winter Soldier. I just don't think it was good as it's hard to say,
Mhm.
honestly. Like, but Bucky's still my favorite character in the MCU. I think so. It just is what it is. Like, but I don't know. I liked the concept stuff of Loki probably more than any of the other ones. So, but I can't put it in number 1 because like there were some episodes that I was just like episode 3 in particular. Like I said, like you don't even need
The
it.
Lamentus episode.
Yeah, the one where he gets thrown out of the train.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that whole episode is just completely throwaway other than the line of the TVA agents are variants, that's it. And that's not even the main purpose of that episode, like, there is no purpose to the episode.
Yeah.
That's a throwaway line in the episode, and then that's it. They had a bunch of cool scenes in the episode, like, stuff looked cool. Like, Loki, I would definitely say, looked the best out of all of them.
Yeah. I would think so.
And it had I think it had the best score out of anything Marvel related at all. Like the
Really
score
good.
was better in the Loki show than anything they've done. Better than the Avengers theme, better than everything. Like, for sure. But yeah, that's it. So Rick, you were Loki, Falcon, then Wanda?
No, Wanda and Falcon switch those around.
Okay, so you were Loki, Wanda, and Falcon. John was Falcon, Loki, or Falcon, Wanda, Loki.
Falcon, Wanda, Loki.
Then I'm gonna go Wanda, Loki, Falcon.
Wanda, Loki, Falcon.
Yeah, all different.
So we all did. Yeah.
We all watched the same show.
We did.
The
We all
same
have
show.
different opinions.
Yeah. Look at that. If that's not the perfect example of the subjectivity, of
Variety.
it's subjective. You know, you all
Yep.
walk away with something different. Speaking of which, let's look at these hot toys.